Hi, and welcome to Come Out Punching, your weekly installment in the world of sports. And today I wanted to discuss with you guys a few things, starting with my predictions for the NFL Divisional Rounds playoffs, where RG3 might play next year, and we welcome an NFL team to LA for next year. Now, I wanted to start off with my NFL predictions for the divisional round. First game is going to be Kansas City at New England. We have a very good Kansas City team, which is on a hot streak. They've won 12 in a row. And New England, which is the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, they've been unbreakable since the 2000 season. And in order for Kansas City to win the game, they have to have time of possession. They need to stay on the field. Alex Smith does not have to um, throw the deep ball. He has a solid running game with Charcandrick West. Jamal Charles might be back. That's still not certain or confirmed. So you keep pounding the ball, whether Charles is in the game or not. And that's the way I see Kansas City winning the game. Time of possession, keep Tom Brady off the field. Now, if you're Tom Brady and the Patriots, what you do is you pass the ball to the best weapon in the NFL, Rob Gronkowski. I'm predicting from 12 to 14 receptions for the big boy Gronk and 2 touchdowns. I do have New England winning that game 27-24, 27-20. It's going to be tough for Kansas City to win the game, but if they have time of possession and they don't make any turnovers, then they can pull out a win in Foxborough just like the Ravens did 2-3 years back. Now, on the other side of the AFC, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Denver Broncos. Now, this is a very interesting matchup. Pittsburgh won the game in week 15. It was Denver at Pittsburgh. Now it's the other way around, Pittsburgh at Denver. Denver's going back to Peyton Manning, and that could be a problem in my eyes. I see Osweiler as the more poised quarterback at the moment. Peyton Manning is coming back, kind of uncertain of his future, whether he's going to retire, whether he's going to continue. I think the Broncos' best bet to win the game is to start Osweiler. They have decided otherwise, but if that's the case, Denver's defense has to step up. They have to stop Antonio Brown or Martavius Bryant. They have to make Pittsburgh run the ball, and the way they do that is by shutting down Martavius Bryant and Antonio Brown. Now, my prediction on that is Denver will win the game. It will be a very close game, but Denver's defense and the altitude, I think, will come through for Denver. Peyton Manning, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and Denver will move on. Take note, if Peyton Manning has more than 1 interception or more than 1 turnover, the Broncos will lose the game on Sunday. Pittsburgh will advance. Take notes. And on the other side of the bracket in the NFC, we have Green Bay at Arizona. Now, another game, another rematch, and Arizona blew Green Bay out of the water in week 16 in the week 16 matchup, and it wasn't pretty. Green Bay got down early. They were down 17-0 at the start of the second quarter. If Green Bay has any chance of pulling out a victory in the desert, they have to keep it close at least until halftime. 14-10, 21-14, a one-score game at halftime, and hopefully that Aaron Rodgers magic can come through in the second half like it did against Washington. Now, Washington's defense you can't compare with Arizona's, but if the running game picks up, there was no running game against Arizona in Week 16. If Eddie Lacy plays with that fire that he played last week, and James Starks doesn't create a turnover, then Green Bay will be solid. It will be a close competitive matchup. I am a Packers fan, but Arizona, I do see them with more weapons at this time, and they have been a more consistent team throughout the year. So I do have to pick Arizona this week. Heart goes with Packers. Brain goes with Cardinals. So Arizona does advance this week. My money's on Arizona. And on the other side, we have the most interesting matchup of them all, which is Seattle at Carolina. Seattle lost a Week 6 matchup against Carolina. The game was in Seattle. Now it's vice versa. Now the game's at Carolina. And Carolina is a very interesting team. They play very good defense, and Cam Newton has done enough for the team to win 15 out of 16 games. Now, Seattle has come from worse to better this season, and I see Seattle with the more experience. Russell Wilson is in a different league than Cam Newton. Cam Newton is getting there. Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, not far behind, but Russell Wilson with the experience. Legion of Boom is back. Cam Chancellor, they played well against Minnesota, although they escaped against Minnesota. But they played well, solid enough defense. They kept Adrian Peterson from running wild. In a game Minnesota had to run the ball, the Legion of Boom stepped up. If Seattle can stop Carolina's running game, Carolina has no chance. And Carolina, in order for them to win the game, they have to, and for Carolina to win the game, Cam Newton has to be not just Superman, but Superman with kryptonite, on kryptonite, and still be. It's going to be Superman versus kryptonite, and Superman somehow has to pull through against that kryptonite. That defense, I'm sure, is ready for revenge. Richard Sherman, big trash talker, he's ready. And Cam Newton better be ready. He does have weapons. Greg Olsen, Jonathan Stewart, Jericho Cotchery, but Cam Newton has to go for another game, give footballs to all those kids in the stands, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them maybe. It's going to be a close game, I hope, for the viewers and the fans, but I do see Seattle pulling away on that one late in the third quarter. Seattle 31-17 over Carolina. Maybe I'm not giving credit to Carolina, but it is the playoffs. Experience does matter, and Seattle will win that game. And now, moving on from my predictions in the NFL, we go from the playoffs, from the divisional playoffs, to a quarterback who was recently in the playoffs and then got hurt, became a bench player, maybe the best bench player there is in the NFL, which is RG3, or Robert Griffin III. You see him on Subway commercials, etc. Now, RG3 has been on the bench this entire NFL season, and it's highly likely that he is out of Washington, and there's a lot of speculation of where he might go. And my prediction now, mark your notes again, Houston Texans. Houston Texans is the best destination for the Redskins to ship him and for RG3 to go. The Texans have no quarterback at the moment. They're going to not have a high draft pick in the next NFL draft. They have a very solid defense. DeAndre Hopkins is a stud as wide receiver, and RG3 with Arian Foster, Alfred Blue, they can be dynamic in the very weak AFC South. Houston Texans, go after your boy RG3. Now, another possibility where RG3 is a good fit, would be a good fit, I would have to say is Chicago. However, Chicago does not suit him as much as the Texans because Chicago is an outside cold weather city, and RG3 I see him more in indoors. So, but Chicago would be my NFC. Washington I don't think would send them to the NFC, but if they do, it would either be Chicago, San Francisco. San Francisco I don't think would want to go through another Colin Kaepernick kind of thing. So San Francisco, I don't see it happening, although that's what ESPN, Fox Sports, that's where the mainstream sports broadcasters are mentioning RG3 with. Now, I think he would Houston, ship him to Houston. JJ Watt, RG3, Subway, eat fresh. And now moving on, um, we have a new team that was announced by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell coming to LA, and that is the St. Louis, soon to be Los Angeles Rams. Welcome to Los Angeles, St. Louis, or welcome to Los Angeles Rams. Um, you were here 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago, and we welcome you back with open arms. I'm sure there's a fan base that's still very strong here for you guys, and we'll we'll go support the Rams. LA needed an NFL team, and I don't know what just happened to the light. So I guess we'll cut it short. Next week, I'll let you know about my predictions for the NBA Finals and who will play the Cleveland Cavaliers, San Antonio Spurs, Golden State Warriors, or my sleeper team. So stay tuned for that. And my weekly shout out this week will go to Reno, Nevada. So I read that it is illegal in Reno, Nevada to lay on the sidewalk. Excuse me. You go to Vegas, 5, 6 a.m., you might see quite a few. It's not Reno, but interesting fact about Reno. Shout out to Reno. And with that, I'll call it a good night. See you next week.